Are you joking or are you serious?
No, I'm serious.
It's recording already.
I'm very serious.
Oh.
That's because I just hit record. It
Yeah.
tends to record.
Hello, everybody.
That's how a button works, Anna.
Wow.
Anyway.
You are something else. Here.
What are you taking my hat off for?
There, that way people can see your face. There you
Nobody
go.
wants to see this face.
Everybody wants to see this face. Hello.
Hey guys, we're back. It's been a little while since, well, last time I did the He-Man thing, the Masters Revelation. I did that, which was long, and I ran it a little bit, but I'm cool now. It's good. So anyway, we've been meaning to do this Fear Street review for a few weeks now, and things we had her parents in town last week, and we were just wiped, and then things happen. Life goes on, all right?
Yes,
Life goes
and
on.
I'm glad you remember. Yeah, this is what. Yes, despite the brain fart, this is what we're doing. We are reviewing Netflix's Fear Street trilogy, which aired on Netflix at the beginning of July.
Yeah.
So
and it kind of had a new movie each week, pretty much. So.
Yeah, it was a trilogy.
Yes,
a trilogy of terror, and mystery.
Yes. So we're going to talk about it. We'll just go part by part.
Sure.
Now it starts off in 94. Mm-hmm. First off, compliments to all the awesome 90s music.
The
soundtracks. My old ass remembers hearing.
The soundtracks in general were really good.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely kudos to the...
Yeah, good music. Also, I definitely, especially in the opening kill, I definitely saw a lot of Scream influence. Especially with the stabbiness. And being it set in the 90s and Screen Kill around that time, it's and also let me credit to them just like not holding back on that violence either. Like sometimes people get really tame or like someone gets killed off soon.
And there were some creative ones too.
Yeah, there was some good creative deaths.
And genuinely sudden. Like the jump scare is kind of a given nowadays, and like there are some moments that are like genuinely shocking.
Right.
So.
Very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so definitely very 90s set. Obviously, there's kind of these two towns that kind of...
Shady Side and Sunnyvale.
Yeah, exactly. Shady Side is kind of the richy rich asshole side of the town, and then, Sunny...
No, Sunnyvale is the richy rich asshole.
Well, whatever, honey. I'm not going to argue with you about it.
All right, good.
I'm just going to let you know.
Yeah. Sunnyvale is the richy rich asshole side,
shake my head
side of town, and... Shady Side, which is where the majority of the story takes place,
right?
It's the poorer side. It's the more rundown side. It's the side. It's the side that has the highest criminal activity, and it's the side with the highest fatalities.
Yes.
And it's been this way for centuries.
Yes, and basically, so they're kind of trying to figure it out what's going on because this guy, goes nuts and kills his friend at the beginning, and they're like, he just lost it. He just snapped.
And there's been a precedent for that. There's been a history of
these
people
type of
snapping in Shady Side.
Yeah. So we kind of have we follow a lesbian couple, our main characters.
Yeah, all our main characters are high school students too.
Yeah. And then we have these other two that are kind of like they're kind of the party kids. They're kind of they're passing drugs left and right, but they're cool. They're fun. The one guy was from that movie, Woman in the Window. He played the son in that. We recognize him right
different.
away.
I know, right?
Different type of role.
Different role for him.
And then her brother, he's pretty good too. He's a good kid. He's been kind of commenting about these kind of things. He's been sort of studying them.
On AOL.
On AOL, yeah. Let's call back to AOL there.
Oh god.
So things start happening, and then. More killers from the past start showing up, and they start to realize that there's kind of this curse, this witch, basically put a curse on the town, and so every century or so whatever
20-ish years, give or take. It's kind of it kind of seems to be at the whim of the witch who she chooses, and in the first film, a lot of the tension of like trying to solve this mystery is kind of heightened because Sam accidentally finds the witch's burial ground and touches the witch's bones,
Yeah.
which curse her.
Yep.
And basically all of these...
By the way, spoilers if you haven't seen
Oh, yes, yeah. All of the possessed killers of the past, including the most recent one, but start coming after Sam.
Yep.
And so, like, they have to find a way to save her and stop the curse.
Right.
And they think they do.
Yeah, they thought, oh, this is over now. We're good. And a couple people get lost along the way. But
by the way, there's a lot because the whole aspect is like the witches' killers only come after the person that they've been sent for, or the person who's been cursed, and they're drawn to that person's blood. So in order to kind of divert attention, there's a lot of Sam like cutting her hand open and like wiping blood in places or putting it in paint so that they can paint things, and it's like a lot of things. It's all like, because this is set in 1994, and you're sitting there going, tail end of the AIDS epidemic. This is a lot of messing around with people's blood.
That's true. But it's a horror film.
Also very like.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the last decade that anything like that could remotely fly.
Yeah. So basically they think they stop it, but then Sam basically is kind of possessed by the witch or whatever.
Yes. Well, the witch has decided, and like, well, if we can't kill her, then I shall possess her and make her one of my killers.
And so they also find out that there was a survivor from this previous massacre in 1978. And they try to get a hold of her and stuff like that because she's still alive, and trying to figure out how she stayed alive and all that stuff. There's also a Sheriff Good, who's introduced, who's kind of like, he knows a little bit about the stuff, and we kind of see his character develop over
been around.
Yeah. So then, of course, I said they ended off on a little cliffhanger there, and then they basically gave you a preview for 1978, which 1978 is very much Friday the 13th. We even have the guy
/ Camp Sleepaway. Or Sleepaway Camp.
Sleepaway Camp. Yeah. It does. You might recognize the one girl from Stranger Things.
Sadie Sink.
Yeah, the redhead. She's in. Yep. And basically, this is where we get kind of the sack-faced killer. Like your duffel bag. Like how Jason was in
burlap sack.
Yeah, burlap sack. I couldn't think of the word. Anyway, but like Friday the 13th too, when he had the burlap sack, it's kind of that. That kind of becomes a killer, and that's another kind of the thing with the witch. And this one was really good too. And like I said, when I said they don't hold back, they kill kids too. They do not hold back.
They are not holding
back. And I'm
back,
like, you know what? I'm going to applaud that because, and I don't mean this to be like facetious against kids. I love kids. I work with kids soccer, but like movies have this tendency to get weak when it's like, oh, these people wouldn't kill kids. I'm like, no, they would. Especially when it's like an alien film or something like that. No, they do not care. Yeah. They're monsters. They're going to kill you.
Yeah, it's a ratings issue and it's a distribution issue.
Oh, I get it.
Like that's the whole reason. Some of you may who are like horror buffs may know the 2007 anthology film Trick or Treat, which never actually got a theatrical release. Like it got a limited movie film circuit or film festival. But it never actually got released to theaters because of that issue that you just mentioned.
Yep, I recall that scene, yeah.
And, so that is definitely... But this is Netflix, and apparently they're going... We already know they don't care about kids.
Just watch Cuties. Anyway, I won't, thanks.
So, like, they're doing what they want, and,
Yeah, but basically we kind of see like the two sisters or whatever, and basically
and their friend,
and the one girl's boyfriend ends up being the duffel bag head killer.
Burlap sack.
Duffel. He's got a duffel.
Really
he's wearing a duffel bag on his head. He literally put a suitcase on his head. Anyway, but he ends up being the one possessed by the witch, and. So you think this whole time, of course, there's a little twist that comes, and you think this whole time that the Sadie Sink's character is dead and her sister, Cindy, survived. But it turns out it's a twist, and her character actually survived.
Yes,
good,
because
because of Good,
Yeah.
The future sheriff.
He gives her CPR and revives her.
Yeah. But then he says, "Oh, I don't know this. Somebody just went nuts." So he's kind of covered the whole thing of, "Oh, definitely wasn't a curse or nothing. Definitely no witch or anything like that."
Yeah.
I would have to say that of the three, I definitely enjoyed this one the most. I liked them all. All three parts were good, but I liked this one in terms of just because I'm a fan of that kind of slasher
70s,
camp style. Camp or that's just classic. Slasher type of stuff. So I enjoyed that. It's kind of my generation. Yeah, I was born in '78, so that's I'm old. Anyway, but yeah, basically then we kind of flash back to '94 and stuff like that, and then we kind of figure out that.
'94 it's the first film, and it's also kind of the framing story in general.
Yeah, because they were trying to still figure this out, how they're going to stop this,
yes.
And so the second one, basically, they go to try to bury the bones or whatever.
Well, yeah, because the whole thing with the witch Sarah Fear, is her hand got chopped off.
Yeah.
And she lost her hand, and so basically, when in '94, when Sam finds the witch's body, there's no hand attached. Mm-hmm. Well, then we flash back to 1978, which is when they find the hand, and then it turns out that Ziggy's been holding on to this hand for the past 16 years.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, if we unite her body,
right, then
we'll be able to end the curse.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
basically,
they do.
But what happens is that our main character, Dina touches the things, and then it kind of flashes her back to what.
Yeah, in Sarah's body. 1666.
1666.
Because they had to get that 666 in there somewhere.
And so a lot of the characters from the first one are playing different characters and set in that time. Most of the characters from both movies pop up as different characters. And so we basically have we're following kind of the Sarah Fear story a little bit and how she became cursed and all this stuff. Yeah. And this is definitely some really good violence on this too. This one preacher gouges people's eyes. Yeah,
yes.
That was brutal. Yeah, that was
Silas. What was his last name?
I don't know, honey.
The pastor.
You better remember some names, Sarah.
Silas. But yeah, it turns out he is the first possessed person that the witch took. That he, he's the first of the killers. Yeah. And you start to know immediately that something is screwy with all these legends that have been passed down to the 20th century, because Silas gets possessed before Sarah actually really gets the chance to do anything witchy.
Right.
So that's kind of your first clue that
somebody else might be involved.
Yeah, there's a bigger story going on here.
Yeah. So basically, from there, we sort of uncover more murders happen, and we start trying to uncover the mystery of all that. It ends up being Sheriff Good's relative.
Solomon Good.
Yeah.
Yes, his ancestor.
Or something like that.
Ancestor,
And he's basically been doing the dark arts. He's been studying all this possession-y type of stuff, witchcraft. But he blames it on Sarah Fear, so she was framed.
Yeah, it turns out she was framed all along.
By that damn Good.
Yeah.
See, the ironic thing is his name was Good, but he is not good.
He is not good. And neither is apparently anyone in his family.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Because right before she is hanged for witchcraft, she does get in a curse of her own, which is, I will follow you forever until the truth is found out.
Yep.
And that turns out to be the case, because Solomon Good's descendants will pass on this whole thing in order to, because this is sort of the deal with the devil that he's made, that in return for possessing these people and having the possessed killers shed blood, then his area of the town, which is known in present day as Sunnyvale,
Yep.
will prosper and be wonderful.
Right, and you got the sheriff and his brother's the mayor, so
Whereas, Shady Side, which is the other half of the settlement, will just, be plagued with awfulness.
Sorry,
No, it's fine. It turns out that, like, all of his descendants are the ones who have been building all this up. And, like, there's all kinds of other killers, too.
Yeah.
They really only show the ones in the 20th century. Like, I think,
Yeah.
Aside from the pastor, as far back as they go, I think it's, like, 1920 or the 19-teens.
Yeah, you have
something
the milkman.
Well, before that, you have the little kid. What was he?
Yeah.
Was he the Humpty Dumpty killer?
I think so, yeah.
Or no, the Humpty Dumpty killer was the 1930s. Anyway, there's this. It was the guy in the lake.
Okay.
So guy in the lake, little kid, the Humpty Dumpty killer, who's kind of like freaky as hell.
Yeah,
the milkman, also freaky as hell.
Yeah.
Ruby Lane.
Yeah.
So we get some girl in there. With her. Straight edge razor.
Yeah.
The burlap sack killer, which we find out is actually Tommy.
Yeah.
From 1978, and then Skullface.
Yeah.
That just came about in 1994.
Yep.
And now, even though she hasn't actually had a chance to kill anybody, Sam.
Yeah. Yep. So and so basically they're just it's a race against time. They figure out that good is. And continuing the sun, and there's of course the big showdown, and it's like,
and he's sicking like all the killers on them. So it's a big old fight in the mall. Because 90s, and the grown-up Ziggy helps them out.
Yep.
And ultimately, she's able to break the curse on Sam.
Yep.
Before Sam can kill her.
Yeah.
So that therefore Sam can survive and not get poofed away with the other killers.
Right.
And she kills Good.
Yep.
And that breaks the curse for good.
Killers all go away, and then
they get poofed away. And then it seems like some retribution starts to happen because Sunnyvale starts to get some bad luck, and good things finally start to happen in Shady Side for the first time in 300 years.
Yeah. But then we get, of course, an or is it moment where someone else grabs the book. We just see a
witchy
hand,
book.
so it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, so there's room for another installment.
Right. Which I know there were several books.
Yes.
They wrote.
Fear Street is it's based on a book series by R.L. Stine.
Mm-hmm. The Goosebumps guy.
Yes, which a lot of us know best as the Goosebumps guy.
Yeah.
But Fear Street was meant for a slightly older
you can tell.
sect of readers. It was meant for high school students.
Yeah.
And so there was Fear Street, and then there was Fear Street Seniors, which was, for high school seniors, where he could cover some more mature materials. And the idea of there's one thing from the books because they're basically the whole idea is that it takes place in Shady Side. There's a Fear Street, and all of these issues come from.
Good thing there wasn't an Elm Street.
Yeah, come from the history of the dark history of the town. And but in the books there was something about the fact that Sarah Fear, her last name isn't actually spelled Fear, it's spelled F-I-E-R. And there's kind of a big deal in the books that if you switch the letters around it spells fire. We don't really get any fire.
Not really much
we
fire.
Get lots of blood.
Yeah.
Not really a lot of fire, so...
Yeah, you leave some things out here.
But, the other thing the Fear Street books were big on were the plot twists. So that...
They definitely kept that.
They definitely kept that, yes. Yeah. And also, just the idea of lore and, building on things like through time.
Right.
Which for me is probably the most interesting aspect of the films. Is like the world building is very strong, the lore is very strong. It's really cool how like when you kind of like jump around in time, like you can see, oh, that's gonna be this in a couple, like
yeah. That's cool.
That was really cool. I feel like I was gonna say something else there.
By all means, keep talking.
I will.
Yeah, we're on. Just take a overview.
Yeah, I feel like I was going to say something else about that, but maybe that was it.
Maybe that was it. Maybe you were done talking.
Maybe I was done talking.
Maybe other people could talk, huh?
Would you like to talk, honey? Is that your way of telling me that you would like to talk?
That's my way, because it's just like the other stuff. You just take over the video.
I don't know.
Just take it over.
I'm just take it over.
It's not a big deal. No, it's but I think it was pretty good. The cast was solid, and I didn't feel like there was any like weak link actors or nothing.
Yeah, and it's mainly like unknowns. Like aside from Jillian Jacobs, Sadie Sink,
a few others here and there.
Like a couple of that face looks familiar.
That actor,
yeah. It's mainly unknowns, which is really cool.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah, it's a fun time to watch. You can watch all three of them now. They're all, like I said, all up there now. I said they came out with like a week of each other, which was kind of cool. A cool way to release a trilogy. And what I liked about it too, besides obviously it was based off books, but like so many horror movies that make sequels or have trilogies, whatever the case, is that like they just make a sequel because they made money on the first one, and there's not really a big drawn out plan or a plan of this is our beginning, middle to get to the end. And I think that's something that more horror should do. Like if you're gonna do, like I always had the idea, like if you were going to do the Nightmare on Elm Street series again, like you could easily like just make it a 3-movie arc and just have your boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Like that's like this was clearly like planned out this way. Yeah. And it was well planned out.
Well directed, well acted. Yeah. The script was solid. There were some good funny moments too.
It's really funny.
Music for all three of them it fit the times really well.
Yeah, that part's actually kind of really funny when you get to 1666 because like for 94 and 78 we've been getting like the rock music of those eras.
Right. Yeah.
And then you get to 1666 and it's all like a bunch of like violins and stuff because it's like
classical.
Well, not even classical, but like, post-Renaissance because it's like, this is what the kids were listening to.
Right. Keeping it hip.
Yeah.
So, do you have any final thoughts, honey?
I would say my one quibble, and it's not really much of a quibble because I did really enjoy this, and the fact that I had this quibble means that it was well done. I wish we'd gotten to see more of some of the other killers of their stories and and those eras, just because again they did such a great job building up this lore and kind of dropping little nuggets about each of the characters and the history of Shadyside and Sunnyvale. Right. I kind of would have liked to have seen. It would have messed up the trilogy, obviously, but I would have liked to see more of that. And maybe if there is another installment, we'll get some more of that.
Stories. Yeah, that would be cool.
All right, but overall, 2 thumbs up for me.
2 thumbs up. I give it an A+.
A+, cool.
Yeah. It was. I said it was an enjoyable trilogy. We had a nice little 3-week thing where I was like, oh, cool, we get to watch it. We get to watch the next one now. And that's cool. It's because there's a lot of times, especially with the trilogy, a lot of times it's like you got to wait years for the next one to come out. And it's like, oh my God, when are we getting this next one? Oh God. And then you get a pandemic and that pushes everything back. And it's like, So it was nice to have just, I was like, oh, cool, we have something to look forward to 3 weeks in a row. So yeah, that was really enjoyable. Check it out on Netflix. It's a good time. And So yeah. That's our thoughts on that. So we watched Suicide Squad last night. We won't go on that tonight, but perhaps we'll put up a review of that at some point too. Maybe next week. We'll see. See how things. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how things go. The night is young. All right, guys. So thanks for tuning in, and hope you check out Fear Street.
Yes. Bye.
Night.